So we've got a lot of opinionated mechanics in the comments.
And today we're responding. First comment.
I mean, ultimately, all the best tires should probably be always on the front where you have to steer the car.
Hi there, Zach Deal here. Reading YouTube comments from the desert of deep thoughts. And this is what a mechanic had to say in the comments about that clip. Yeah, no. Best tires always go to the rear. The front may steer, but the rear keep the vehicle stable.
No, you're wrong. You're wrong. The reason you want tires in the front that are new is because your handling's there. So the back, if it blows, it's not gonna steer you nowhere. It's gonna actually just go like this, and you got the control in the front. So the tires, you always want the good ones in the front, always. Right? Now, what do you think?
Okay, so I went down a rabbit hole.
Don't start, because
I went down a rabbit hole. So a lot of the vehicle manufacturers started saying that you put the best on the rear so you don't lose the rear. Once you lose the rear, unless you know how to drive, like maybe me or Sandro here, but you're gonna crash. And then the other argument would be made that if you crash in the front, you have airbags, but if you crash on the side, not all vehicles have side airbags, which I think is a fair argument. I think both of those are fair arguments.
In my 30 years of doing tires, I've seen more accidents when the tires in the front pop. I've seen all these customers come in, when they blow tires from the front, they're like, oh, I lost control and I crashed into another car. And when it blows in the back, since that axle is stable, it's not moving nowhere.
Yeah.
That bad boy is staying there. It's gonna just drop, pull a little bit, and you have control of it. And I seen when you switch out tires, the back, they're bubbly, wavy, they're patchy, and you put them in the front, you get vibration, shake, you get the death wobble. It's doing this to the zero, so it's even more crazier. But at the end of the day, stop being a cheap ass and buy all 4 tires. Next clip.
How much work, just from looking at it, do you think it needs?
Interior motor, restarting it, reconditioning the motor and transmission, suspension, brakes.
What if they say, just get it to where it moves on its own?
That's a miracle. I mean, we could drop some fairy dust on the and hopefully it works. But no, that's gonna take, I'm thinking probably like around $8,000. Easy, all day.
Cheap ass.
Not gonna lie, I think Sandro might need to watch some Pole Barn Garage if he thinks that Mustang is too far gone. Not gonna lie, this is the first time I just know that Sandro is wrong. That Mustang is a piece of cake.
That's probably a car enthusiast
Yeah.
talking right now.
Not a business owner,
Not a business owner. Why? Because you gotta make money. If you're talking about like
Doing charity work?
yeah, then you could do it with like a Snicker. You know, just put air on it and just push it down the block. You gotta remember, look, watch. Brakes all around, everything.
Mass or brake
the whole
lines,
enchilada.
caliper, whatever.
Wheels. God knows how rusty they are. Let's just say you put the wire brush on it. You still need to buy tires. That's just 2 things right there that you're looking at. On a cheap end, $1,000. You're gonna do a little upgrade. Obviously, you're not gonna keep the same brake system, shoes all around. You know, you're gonna change the disc. The gas tank, perfect example. Justin's car. Go watch that video, you'll understand. A piece of shit. It went from one little job to a big ass job, and he still has problems in there because it's all the rust.
How many rusted broken bolts are you gonna come
Exactly.
across?
So it's like this comment's coming from somebody that's enthusiast. Props. Yes, can you do it with less? For sure. But if you take it to a shop, hell no. Who the repair that? Put how much you guys paid to do that.
Yeah.
So if that's a video and somebody
us
brought
know.
that motherfucker back to life,
Drop it in the comments.
show us. Next clip.
Working on cars can get a little loud. But with today's sponsor, Raycon, all I hear is what I want to hear. Raycon everyday earbuds feature active noise cancellation that cuts out all the chaos, keeping me focused on my work. And right now, you can get up to 30% off site-wide during Raycon's Black Friday and Cyber Monday sale. The everyday earbuds are built for all-day use, giving you a 32-hour battery life and perfect fit gel tips, optimized for long-term comfort. Need a battery top-off? Just pop them in the wireless protective case for 10 minutes and you're set for another 90 minutes of listening. Save big this Black Friday and Cyber Monday with Raycon. Go to buyraycon.com/RMS today to get up to 30% off site-wide. That's up to 30% off everything on Raycon's website when you go to buyraycon.com/RMS.
Wait, talk to me?
Hey, how are you? Can you hear me?
These are actually kind of cool. These actually work pretty good.
Is it a good idea to use household electrical connections in your car?
Household electrical connections are actually meant for much higher voltages and amperages that we might see in the car. This works.
Sorry, Angelina, but that is wrong. Household electrical components are made for higher voltages, but lower amperage. That means that wires in a car are naturally carrying more amperes, depending on what device they connect to.
I like his voice.
I do. It's very
Sounds good.
soothing. It
Sounds
reminds
good.
me
I
of,
feel like he's not talking shit.
yeah,
He's saying it nice.
like a newscast.
Yeah. Breaking news.
Okay, so I am.
Angie, you suck.
You suck. Person in the comments, you're absolutely correct. It's high voltage, but lower current, and exactly in that particular scenario with that power window, that little extension cord they're using is what, like a 14 gauge wire. Okay, you're right. Maybe it's rated at 120 volts AC RMS. It is only going to be rated at like maybe 10 amps. I will say you're saying wires in cars are rated for more. Maybe some of them. You know what? You really want to go down this rabbit hole?
I don't. You're gonna make me go down this rabbit hole.
It all depends on the circuit, right?
Where's SpongeBob? 10 years later. Plain and simple. Sometimes when we get these videos, it's like if it works or if it doesn't work. Have you done it? Yes, I've done it. Have I gone through the book and explained to it? No, I haven't. It's something that you have that material at the moment and it's functioning. I say, it works. I think it was a MacGyver episode and it says, would MacGyver be proud? Hell yeah, because you're fixing your window and you're in the middle of in the desert. So it's perfect. Don't judge her too bad. Because if not, I'm gonna hear the whole story. She's gonna bring out the electric book, and she's gonna be like, oh, ohmages, amperages. Sandra, what the are we talking about now? Well, we're gonna go talk about house current. And she brings out a belt with all electrical shit, and I'm like,
Don't make him go through that.
can we get a next clip from Tony?
Let's take a look at that sweet next clip.
What the
No way! No way!
Stupid.
It's fake.
Yeah, that's fake.
You call it fake?
There's
Okay.
too much resistance in the human body.
So I'm
That
gonna
fool
say no.
ask if
I'm
it's
gonna call
fake?
BS because if you were to ohm out your jumper cables, you're gonna be a lot less than a human body. Also, the amount of current that is gonna be flowing from one of the batteries to the other, your starting systems draw a lot of current. And if you're going through millions of ohms from multiple bodies
voguing?
from one battery to the next, that's not enough current to start a car. So you're probably not gonna get shocked, but you are not gonna start the car.
Sorry, Angelina. You are wrong about millions of ohms. The human body has a resistance of 500 ohms
Oh, shut
to
the
1.3 thousand ohms.
five.
And if the upper skin is damaged, the body's resistance is near null. Remember,
Whoa.
most of the body is water. But it's still BS what the kids showed because the high current would lead to thermal damage, heart problems, etc. And that is why DC is so dangerous.
Oh, really?
I'm sorry. That was
Oh, really? First and foremost, thank you for your comment. Nope. Yes, the human body is definitely mostly water. However, we have this wonderful insulation that we call skin, and this skin has a lot of resistance. When I said millions of ohms, it was a bit of a hyperbole. It's quite common, thousands of ohms, potentially 100,000 ohms. 500 ohms, come on, the human body is not 500 ohms. But even if it was, 500 ohms is definitely enough to not start the car. If a little bit of chia pet, like a corrosion on your battery is too much to get the car started, then 500 ohms is definitely gonna be too much to get the car started. I'll also correct you in that it's gonna fry you. Yes, it's a lot of current, but we're also still talking about 12 volts.
What they don't get is like when we get the clips, Tony back there just drops it on Angie. Boom. Like, here, figure this shit out. And then Tony asks like the biggest questions in the world. And then your mind's over here thinking about how ugly Tony's Miata was and all the beautiful work I did, so now it looks badass. And for those that don't know, Tony scratches wheels.
Oh, yeah.
And then Tony blames it on the dog. He says that Didi got on the steering wheel, said, hold my beer, step aside, and let me park this car.
Oh my God.
And the dog scratched it. And I was like, are you serious, Tony? And Tony goes like, that's exactly how it went down. And then he wants me to be Bill Guy, the science guy, and to explain electrodes and all this extra bullshit. So
sorry.
we're sorry.
Sorry, from the bottom of our hearts. Next clip.
How do you even get a car exhaust to make that kind of a explosive backfire?
Oh, nice. He's asking me questions. I'm scared. Okay, so they sell exhaust kits that it's like a spark plug.
And
I know
actually
they were gonna
a spark
say
plug in the exhaust.
Yeah, some of them there are. It's like that would just spark and the fuel shoots out, and then boom, here we go.
That's one.
First question. How do they get exhaust to explode like that? Correct answer. A custom tune that will allow unburned fuel
so,
to travel through the
That's the
system.
other half of it.
Couldn't watch anymore. If you're gonna pretend to be a pro, at least have a real pro write the script.
Have a lawyer next to you asking you questions. You're really confused because this one has a laptop right here, looking like Dookie Howser himself, and he's
Got his tie.
Yeah, he has his tie. He looks all sharp and looking all good, and then he's asking you questions, and you're even like, am I gonna even answer them correctly? And then you say something like, that's the low life, and he says,
That's a low life, folks.
and I'm like, God damn, that's up.
This doesn't sound as good.
You know, it doesn't sound good because he's just talking about me. I'm like, oh, okay.
But you
It's
weren't
really hard.
incorrect.
There's kits for that. I've done that. There's the two-step kits. There's a bunch of ways to make that backfire. If it's turbo, it'll backfire too by itself.
You can get into how the tune will richen up the mixture so the engine doesn't burn all of it and you have it left over, and then you purposely put a spark plug in the exhaust to ignite that extra fuel after. Or you could just have a fast car that does it on its own. Let's take a look at that next clip.
To it, your head's gonna spin. This thing is what you need because it has tons of information, tons of guided component tests, and training built right into the app that comes with the unit.
I want it. I want it.
This is our tool, the N2 Neuron. We are local to you guys, Los Angeles, and would love to get you some to look at. Yes, it has scope-like functions. Also, always looking to add new updates. Thanks for showing our tool.
PSA, so Kirion swung by and they gave us one of their N2 Neuron tools.
Yes! Let's give it.
Here.
Oh, okay. Oh my God. I'm sorry, guys. Like, I'm really excited about using this. This is badass. This makes testing just so much easier, and I could not be more excited right now. This is your multimeter unit, and this is just so cool because one, multimeters are super expensive, and to be able to turn your phone into one is incredibly handy. Like, OMG. I'm sorry.
I feel like you're at a T-Mobile store. Like, you get the phone, and then you gotta get the case, and you gotta get the cover.
I cannot wait to try this. Let's test some stuff. Let's test a fan motor. I had so many ideas. Let's just go. Now, normally we would use a multimeter like this, say high quality Snap-on 604 digital multimeter. And the way we're gonna hook up our leads are with voltage DC and in the volts, ohm, hertz hole and the comm hole for our black lead. Now, we do have this fancy meter because we are a learning institution here and we do teach Snap-on certification for this meter. However, if I wanted to use my sweet Kirion N2, the first step would be to sync your module here to your phone, or if you've got the run and gun kit, they gave you that, essentially that phone, and then it picks it up automatically and we can see it right there. So if I click on that, it's gonna go ahead and link up. And since we're gonna do some voltage testing, we're gonna test a headlight circuit because it's just kind of easy to get to. Plus this vehicle happens to have a blown fuse for the right headlight. So this will be a fun little test for us. We're gonna go ahead and plug our red lead into the volts hole on this module here, and I've actually built in a bug for my electrical students for checking fuses and looking at diagrams. And right now this vehicle does have a blown right headlight fuse. So on the under dash fuse block, we can see I've got, let me use my other fingernail there. We've got a left headlight 10 amp and we've got a right headlight low beam 10 amp as well. So we're gonna go ahead and do a quick check on these. Now we're gonna start off with an available voltage check. So I'm gonna go ahead and move my camera here.
And with our available voltage check, I'm gonna go ahead and leave my black lead on my negative battery. I can use chassis ground if I want, but right now it's kind of sitting nice and happy, and I know that there's 0 volts at that point. Now remember, if we wanna do available voltage at a given point, then I'm gonna take my red lead, and let's say I wanna check the available voltage going into and out of my right and left low beam fuse, that 10 amp. So that's gonna be these 2 fuses right here. Now, if I want to take a look at my meter, we can see that for my left headlight, that one's functioning. I should have 12 volts in and 12 volts out. So since I don't have a split screen here, we'll go ahead and do this. You can watch my meter, my sweet Curian meter here, and I am probing into the left high low beam fuse, and we can see we got it just under source voltage there. And then coming out of that fuse, I also have just around source voltage, which means that this fuse is good. And we can see, for those of you who are not familiar, fuses actually have these handy little test points going in and out of them. So since I have source voltage in, source voltage out, that fuse is good. But now let's go ahead and take a look at that right headlight fuse. So we can see that if I probe that fuse inlet, we do have source voltage there. And if I go ahead and probe my fuse out, I've got 0 volts, but we can see that's essentially 0 volts. So if I have 12 volts in and 0 volts out, that means that fuse is broken. There's no continuity, that drawbridge is open, no current can flow, and hence why I have one headlight that works and one headlight that doesn't. Now we can go into a whole nother video as to why a fuse would blow, and we'd have to go and diagnose that, because a fuse is always just a symptom, it's not the cause, but that is just one quick test that we can use our sweet Curian meter for, amongst many other things. And we have all of these functions. There's some training on there: parasitic draw, charging test, ignition test, battery test, the meter test that I was just showing, and so much more, which is just so awesome, just so cool. Thank you so much, Curian. Again, I cannot thank you enough. I cannot wait to use all of this and share everything that I get to learn with you guys. Pop off the air filter or air ducting where the throttle body is, and you will spray something combustible, starting fluid, carb clean, brake clean, while somebody is in there trying to keep the engine alive. And if the engine does start and continues to run, well, you know it's a fuel issue. If it doesn't, then maybe it's a spark issue or something else. But as long as you don't do that with a diesel, that is not a smart thing to do with a diesel. You will do damage, massive damage. Don't do that. Only gasoline vehicles you can do that.
This chick literally said you shouldn't use brake cleaner or anything else that combusts to start a diesel engine. She is wrong. She doesn't even seem to understand how the internal combustion engine works.
Oh no.
LMAO. And that the difference between the gas engine and diesel engine is different fuel injection. The fuel injection doesn't matter when it's bypassed if you are starting the engine in this way.
Listen, have millions of people started diesel engines with starting fluid and nothing happened? Absolutely, and that is a common practice. Same thing goes with jump starting vehicles, right? How many people have jump started a car, positive to positive, negative to negative on both vehicles, and no batteries exploded? Sure, tons, maybe even millions. But how many did that and a spark occurred while the battery was gassing and a battery did ignite and explode? It happens. I don't want to win that lottery. And if I'm working on a customer's car, I don't want to win that lottery on their car. And anybody listening to me, I don't want to say like, oh, she said it was okay, so I did it, and then I created damage. So what I was always told is to not start diesels with starting fluid. And if you actually look on a bunch of especially older diesel vehicles, and equipment, there's a fat sticker on them that says do not use starting fluid on that engine or damage will occur. When I said will, maybe I should have said may. How about that?
But maybe he has more practice.
For sure,
God
for
knows.
sure.
It's because, remember,
I'm not a diesel mechanic.
Yeah, you gotta remember, like, sometimes they have a little bit more experience because they probably work on it every day.
Sure.
So that's what she knows, and she hasn't done all those little tricks that you have. And that's cool that you probably do know something that we don't know. That's part of life. We're not gonna know everything, and if we said something wrong,
Hi, Steph. We have a clip to show you.
Oh, show me this clip. Memes of the babies where it's like, please let me be born into the royal family. And it's like, you were born in the middle of Ohio to teenage parents. This is a good moment for me. And I like that. Shout out to all teenage parents out there.
Steph is the type of person you need around when you are having a day, because she'll just make you feel better. For real.
This is true.
She seems so cool. Well, the entire video is all scripted. Sure, she has the charisma to play too off as genuine, but at the end of the day, every single one of her actions is controlled by the people above.
Every single one.
Illuminati.
oh my God.
You think that Tony can come up with the genius that is what's in my brain?
It's impossible. Impossible.
Completely impossible.
All natural, baby.
All natural, baby.
You guys want to meet the RMS team right now? Tony, can you come over here, please?
Why don't we introduce everybody here?
Edgar, Michael. Yeah.
Hello. Hey, look.
This is it.
This is our team. This is Team
is the team.
RMS right
This is
here.
Team RMS.
You think any of these fools look like they can write my scripts? No.
Nobody can write her
It's
script.
off the top of the dome.
There's an insane amount of effort that goes into set everything up to find creative ways to teach the audience. Because at the end of the day, this is an education channel that kind of pretends to be like a React channel, but we're all about finding the best teachers in the world, and nothing is scripted. We just have direction. And our direction is our topic matter, our videos, and we talk about those in advance. And then these guys see it for the first time during the shoot, and then talk a bunch of shit.
This is what Tony does. And that's it.
And what does that mean? Does that mean?
Shut the up and go to the next clip.
I think we need more adventurous people in the world. Oh my god. Oh my god, is he okay?
Do you see it?
I love the show, but do you guys really need to have two girls in one episode? A female mechanic that is competent is already rare enough, but putting them both in one video looks more like you're trying to send a message about women being competent as mechanics rather than actually just find the most competent people you can find on camera. Don't get me wrong, the girl on the left is extremely educated and is the exception to the rule. But the girl on the right,
exception to the
while
rule.
entertaining, proves the rule.
Wow.
Listen.
Wow.
I'm sorry, but
Can I be mean?
Say you're being. I mean, tell me
Don't
you're
be
scared.
too mean. Don't
Tell
be
me
too
you're
mean.
scared without telling me you're scared. I've been in this industry for, I don't know, 20 years, right? Like, I've heard it all, so I've got pretty thick skin at this point. I know Steph's got pretty thick skin because she's heard it all too. We're two different mechanics, we're two different people, and we bring two different strengths to the table.
Yeah, I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I don't gotta be yours, baby.
Just be a little bit more respectful because we are real human beings, you know, contrary to popular belief.
I'm outro. Thank y'all for having me. Let's see that next clip.
He almost put $1,700 worth of work in his Chevy that it didn't need.
Brought it to us. They had it at dealership.
So homeboy went from the dealership to another shop.
That's misdiagnosis right there.
Yeah.
It sucks. I mean, we're all human, but when it comes down to recommendations, you have to be careful because this is always something that's gonna come up.
There is no misdiagnosis. Dealers have access to every single bit of information about the cars they service. If for some reason the dealer doesn't have it and they still use those old books, or you're taking it to a mom and pop and they don't have it, take it somewhere else.
sorry, my dude, but you're wrong on that one.
I agree.
There's no such thing as like, oh, perfect mechanics there. There's no such thing as that.
Well, and it's interesting to think that just because they have factory service information, that means that you would never misdiagnose a car, because those are two separate things. Yeah. Factory service information is just gonna tell you torque specs, it's gonna tell you where things are at, it's gonna tell you wire colors, it's gonna tell you information about the car, but it's not gonna diagnose the car for you. This is the same type of person that thinks that, oh, if it's OBD2, I can just plug a scan tool and it's gonna tell me what's wrong with the car. That's the same thought process.
Yeah.
That's not not how scan tools work. That's not how cars work.
No, people think that the dealers know everything, and that's a lie.
Couldn't be further from the truth.
You gotta remember, there's people back there working.
Just humans, just
Yeah.
humans. Some of them are really good mechanics, some of them not so much.
Yeah, we.
Everybody does.
Next clip.
With MIG, you're gonna get more splatter, more mess. Wherever the fucking arcs is gonna splatter all over it, so.
I beg to differ with Sandro. If you're fighting a ton of spatter with MIG, then your settings are wrong.
You know what? He's probably kind of right, because it could be. You know what? I seen the mixtures of gas and settings, but you still get splatter. There's some machines that when it arcs, it flows really good. But let's just say it's your Miller 211 and you have it as setting at 6 and the other one's at 5, and it's pushing right and it's too hot and it's flowing just right. You might get some splatter. I get what you're saying. If you're doing the same over and over, you get it to like perfection, where you're like, I'm gonna do all these lunch boxes. You got it dialed in. But if you're doing the lunchbox, this, you're gonna get some splatter. But when it comes down to TIG, you don't get no splatter. And then you could be more precise. Then you could, like, say you don't want to burn too much that side, you regulate yourself. Like, you gotta move faster here, temperature, or your mixture of argon. I get what he's saying, but maybe you're a princess welder. A princess welder to me, nice table, you're sitting down the whole time and you're doing repeatedly. So that's all you're doing.
The same
that one
stuff.
bracket over and over and over. But when you're outside in the field and you come back inside and then you gotta work on something dirty and then you gotta do some piping and you gotta do some brackets that these ones are all corroded, they're painted, you gotta clean it up. And then for those crazy ass welders, like the pipe light runners, the ones that are welding pipes, those fools are badass. But even them, like,
They're doing a lot of the same stuff.
they're doing a lot of the same stuff, but they get down.
Right.
You know, and sometimes they do get like MIG machines. They're fine-tuned for that circle, and that's it. But I mean, yeah, you're right and you're wrong. And to me, you're wrong today.
Next clip.
Remember, we're all out there to make money. That's the
Oh, yeah.
truth. Whether it be the dealer, whether
Gotta
it be
eat.
a small shop, we're here to make money. The dealer usually recommends all of this stuff. That doesn't mean you have to do it.
I'm not sure if I'm the only one that feels like the guy on the right side is actually not a real mechanic. But they're more for the show easy
Name
money.
one.
The one on the left does express itself as real experience and knowledge in the mechanic world.
You know what's hilarious is that Sandra has probably been working on cars longer than whoever wrote this comment has been alive.
My lingo is not as good as hers. No, at all. Like, she's a teacher. I can listen to her and learn something. I even go sometimes at the videos, I'm like, you know what? She said something that made sense. I should have paid attention. I should have paid attention instead of playing around. God damn it, I suck at school. So I go back and watch her videos and she opens up my mind and I'm like, oh, you know what? She's right. And I go and tell Juan that and I'm like, you know, we could do it this way. But I mean, that doesn't mean I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just more business orientated. Why? Because I could do the work, but I also gotta charge you. I gotta make sure that you like what I'm charging you and you gotta make sure that you're happy when you leave. So I gotta talk to you the right way, do the job the right way, and then after all, I still have to make sure everybody left happy, even me.
Yeah, you're wearing like 5 different hats.
Yeah,
You got to
so-
be the business owner. You're dealing with all of these other things. You're dealing with the customer.
Yeah.
You're being a service advisor. You also have to have that creative ability that you have when customers want you to do something special. And then you're also a mechanic in the shop getting it done so the job gets out and the customer leaves happy and they get to drive home. Like and you're managing the shop. You're the shop foreman too. Like, I mean, it stresses me out just to think about half of the you have to do.
When it comes to the mechanical thing, I'm kind of the last straw. Like,
Nobody else could get it
If we
done.
can't do it, then I'm like, let me figure this out. And that's why we have all these crazy ass projects there, because it went from one shop to another shop to another shop, and I get it. That's who I am. I like those problems, and I like to deal with them. You probably see me on the RMS, and you're like, this fool doesn't know what he's doing. His hands are clean. I do what I say.
Yeah.
If I tell you we could jury rig something, we could do it. If you want it legit, I could do it. It all depends on your pocket.
Sandra's a goat, dude. Sandra's a goat. He has forgotten more than most people know or will know. Show the respect.
I love you.
We love you.
Here at RMS, we get this next comment so frequently that I figured all of you could say it with me. So in 3, 2, 1, let Sandro with that van.
Let me with the van.
Look at him.
Come on.
Just let him do it.
It's not gonna be like Pimp My Ride. No, none of that. Disco.
No,
shit.
real.
No, some real.
Real.
Okay, so I would lay down that donut, those sprinkles.
All over sprinkles, that would actually be pretty
floor.
sick. I like that.
Drop acrylic right there. Some LED lights on the side. So it bangs when it's on. Some nice seats. Somewhere where you could put a TV and you can see the episodes of RMS.
Specifically.
Also, I would fix the wrap. Where it says donut, I would make it like 3D where it pops out a little bit more.
Ooh, I like that.
And fix the AC because I feel bad for the people in there. Tim, everybody else, the whole the merch crew. We got you. You know, you'll be chilling with a little jacket instead of like almost butt naked in there, looking like a sweatshop. I know Adam wants something for like suspension-wise so he could tow shit. So airbags in the back, helper airbags.
Yeah.
So in case he wants to tow the drift car, my car, since it broke down going to your army. I think you sabotaged it.
I sabotaged
While I was there, I think you sabotaged it. But yeah, let me fan.
And I won't with the Civic. How about that? Is that fair?
Click.
Here, here.
Or here. To see more RMS stuff. Deuces, guys.
Peace out.